Well, Coach, you guys had a scrimmage today. I know you probably haven't had a chance to look at film too deeply, but what were some of your knee-jerk reactions from this morning?
That we have capable quarterback play. That seven, Frank Harris, probably took a step away from the pack today, but not a big step because those guys played well. Also, I thought Cordell Grundy did a lot of really good things. All had touchdown throws, all had touchdown drives in Cordell Grundy, in Lowell Narcisse. And the pleasant surprise was JoJo Weeks, who probably had his best day since he's been a Roadrunner. It was good to see him in the mix for the competition, not to be outdone. He played extremely well today. So the quarterback play was very pleasing. We had one turnover on a ball was tipped up, and our young Brandon Matterson here from Brandeis High School caught it and went about 35 yards, avoided a couple of tackles, then dunked it over the goalpost. That was exciting to see him have some success as well. But an offensive unit, for the first time in a long time, probably had their way against a very experienced, talented defensive unit that we have. We're excited about our defense. I think our defensive line can and will compete with the upper echelon in this conference and beyond. Our offense played well against them today. They moved the ball up and down the field. I think it started from the very beginning, from the outset, in a birdcage tone set, if you will. Those offensive linemen went up and for the first time in history went 8-0 in birdcage, all those guys on the offensive side. So I just think mentality-wise, our offensive staff, led by Jeff Castle, just really got in tune to taking it as a preseason game, taking it that serious, and we have to improve on this day. And when you have multiple plays that are 40-plus yards, it's gratifying because it's something that we had not had a lot of course, in last year, and never really a whole bunch against our defense. And so we had those plays happen today. We had some young receivers make some one-hand catches and were dynamic in style of play. Sincere McCormick continues to be dynamic with the ball in his hand. Devin Boston played today, and glimpses we saw in early last year came to fruition today as he emerged and ran the ball with zeal. B.J. Daniels had a good day as well. I thought our backers did a solid job. Those guys stepped in. Andrew Martell will be just fine. Trevor Harmonson came in and played in his first live drill. Late arrival, had to get acclimated, and we threw him in there, and he played very well from the linebacker position also. And so we got Ladarian McFarland played very well at the linebacker position. Still have some work in the secondary. We were out without Carl Austin, again for precautionary reason, and Savion Harris were not in the game, but we had some young guys got experience in the back end. That were challenged by a group of receivers. I think we may have had 3 or more guys, receivers, that caught a touchdown pass on this day. So it was good to see the wealth being spread throughout our football team.
Frank, along the lines of being excited about the offense, specifically that run game, it's kind of eluded you guys for about a season and a half now. Is it even more exciting to see that part of the game come to fruition now?
Yeah, because you look at teams, and even the so-called teams who or the run and shoot and throw it all over the barnyard, they rush the ball. You have to be able to run the ball. I don't care who you are, whether you're the team in Lubbock or Oregon. They still all rush the ball well, whether it be by the quarterback or the backfield. There's production in the run game that allows you to then take the chunk plays in the passing game. And so to establish that is a must identity for us, and something we were able to do in previous years. And we did not do a good job of that last year, hence why we didn't have much production as an offense. But it's certainly good to see our offensive line and our backfield run the way that they did on this day.
What
Frank,
specifically was it that you saw from Frank that allowed him to take that step ahead in the scrimmage today?
Consistency, accuracy, the ability to extend the play with eyes down the field and still dump it off. When all else fails, to take off with it. Decision making in a run game that sees the movement or intentions of a defensive line and their alignment configuration where they would slant one way or the other and check the play to the proper side it should go to. All of those things are monumental for a quarterback because it gets us in the right play call to be able to have a successful play. And so that's not a statistical thing, but it's very much a critical component of our offense and its productivity.
Frank, along those lines with Harris, can you talk a little bit about the intangibles that he brings? He always seemed to have that presence, the command of the level and everything else. Does he have that, at this level?
Yeah,
We've never seen him play in college, obviously.
Yeah, the biggest deception is he's just a runner, and he's so much more than that. He's an athletic quarterback who has enough arm strength to throw the ball from one hash to another, to put it on the line, to throw it down the field, to put air on it, and to do the necessary throws that we desire. And at the same time, have enough hand talent to be able to make those touch throws. That it's not always, that hot ball or that long ball, but to negotiate the rush, whether it's over the top, here, however you have to get it out. He shows that uncanny ability to negotiate his throw and get it to the receivers. I think that's a tremendous asset for a quarterback and one that's not talked about very well because you take for granted the gimme throw, the simple one that for some are very difficult to complete. But yet if you give them enough time, they can plant their feet and throw it down the field. Well, he can throw it on the run, he can plant, he can move about in the pocket and throw it as well. And so I think that his development has one that's been on time. He came here, 170-something pounds. He's 200 pounds now. And so he has built his body with enough gumption, if you will, to be able to sustain the rigors, the pounding of collegiate football as well.
But the race is still too close to call, like you mentioned.
Yeah. I think it would be premature. I think it would be irresponsible to just name him, but I'm not going to deceive you. He has taken a step. But the reality is so have those other guys as well. And so we have a good problem on our hand. We'll have one more. We'll have a week of practice that count. Every one of them count. And we'll have preseason game number 2 on Saturday, next Saturday. And hopefully this thing starts clearing itself up so we can then be 2 weeks out of kickoff and narrow the scope in and start preparing for our opponent.
Coach, what role do you take in offensive and defensive play calling within a game? How do you interact with them?
Yeah, so our coordinators are responsible for calling the game. My role is mostly done in preparation. And so as we prepare for an opponent, identifying their strengths, their weaknesses, and things that we can do schematically to take advantage of that team, that prep, I'm a part of it. This is how I believe we could attack them in association with our coordinators and our entire offense and defense and special team staff respectfully. But those guys coordinate with their staffs and we come up with the game plan. I partake in the preparation of what's the how do we devise a game plan to attack them. But the game day calls lies on the shoulders of the coordinators. They make those calls.
Coach, Andrew Martell, what's impressed you about him so far?
Just his leadership skills. He's a fifth-year senior for us who's played a lot of football, earned his way the blue-collar way by way of special teams and have worked his way into position. Anytime you can bump a guy down, you feel good about it, whether it's a backer to D-line, a la Josiah, or you take a guy from safety and bump him down to linebacker. In Martell's case, you get a more athletic guy that has played in space and has that spatial awareness and ability to be able to understand angles of pursuit, to be able to make those tackles in space as well as in tight confinements.
Right.
And so Andrew has that ability to do so. He is the quarterback of our defense, and so he gets us in the right play calls once they're sent in from the sideline.
Right. He comes from a coaching family too, doesn't he?
Yeah, dad, grandfather, the whole crew. So
His
he
dad played at U of H, maybe?
his dad played at U of H. He's a high school coach here in Texas. Does an outstanding job.
Yeah. And he could have graduated. Well, he graduated this
Yeah,
past year. He could have. He chose to go 1 year. Does that impress you when these guys do that, when they could have gone with their career that they stay on? And
Yeah. So here's what it says. I haven't had enough. That I'd like to finish my career here on a higher note. That I have some things that are incomplete from a football standpoint, but it's also our gift back to them that I have a bachelor's degree and an opportunity to earn a master's
Right.
at a university that will afford me that I think speaks to us
right.
as an administration, as a university, to invest in our student athletes to maximize all they can be from an academic standpoint.
And did Carl do the same thing?
Carl is a graduate as well. He's in graduate school.
How's his progress going? I know he's been
Good.
a little bit.
Yeah. He's going really good. He could have played today.
Okay.
We're close to the finish line here, and as you know, we were without him a year ago, and so to have him back is big for us.
Frank, along those lines, speaking about coaches and sons, Ron Ritterman's son is out here. Can you just spend just a little bit about him? He's the second year as a GA,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He was like a little quarterback when he played for his dad.
Yeah, played for his dad here locally, then went on to Texas Tech, where he played quarterback and receiver. We hired Hunter a year ago, and got a call from Cliff Kingsbury about him. Of course, knew his dad, brought him in, and he's exactly what you want in a young coach, chopping at the bit, eager. There's no job too small. There's no job too big. Whatever it is you ask of him, he delivers, and he will be a great coach in due time. But working his way up the ladder, I'm very fortunate to have him. I went down to Texas to the Texas High School Coaches Association meeting, and it's at the convention center. And so I walk in, and Miss Ritterman, I call her coach as well. She's waiting at the front, down on the first floor, and I'm generally no good without my crew there. So Amanda or none of my coaches were there with me, so she was waiting for me. It's like, Coach, we're in ballroom AC. I'll get you there. Yeah, she was awesome. So,
She's kind of like the team mother, man.
Yeah. So it's good. Yeah, she is.
Frank, how much of I know you're insulated right now you're in camp, it's all about the grind, but how much do you hear any of the outside noise of the program or some of the angst among the fan base of wanting to have the improvement this year, of needing to have a good year?
No, that's what they say. Yeah, we feel the same way. We want to have a good year. We need to have a good year. So we echo those sentiments that we have a standard here that we need to be able to attain, and certainly is our goal to reach those levels, and that is to win Conference USA West, to be in the conference championship, and to go to a bowl game. That will be our goal every year. It is our goal this year. So to the fans, I concur. Yeah, let's go improve. Let's get better.
So you typically kind of insulate yourself from what happens maybe on social media, or just kind of having those interactions with people who might come up to you here and there?
Yeah, well, I think my staff probably, if it was something derogatory, which it sounds like it is, they nix it before it get to me, because I don't, they kind of filter, if you will, all that kind of stuff. So I never see it. So if there is stuff out there, it's okay. We'll continue to forge ahead and do our part, and putting the product on the field that our fan base, our city is proud of, that our alumni base is proud of,
Right.
and that's all we want to do. I would, even if I saw it, again, I agree. We need to be better this year.
Frank, do you see in your players, and I think we talked a little bit about that on reporting day. It's hard to quantify, I know, but I know your players are always going to be gung-ho enthusiastic, but do you the off-season and summer, and then now kind of a
Yeah, they're anxious.
recommitment, if I may say, or a sense of urgency that, hey, we weren't happy with where we were last year.
Certainly we weren't. Certainly we were not. No one ever anticipates finishing on that side of a win-loss record, and so they're prideful. They work hard. We work hard, and we want improvement. We want it to show up in the win-loss column, and we work diligently to do so. And so I think our team is very anxious to be able to get that taste out of their mouth, that disdain out of their mouth, to be a better football team, to walk around proud, chest out, head up high, that we are a program to be reckoned with. And they're working in that manner.